Hey, Shalom family. I posted something on my Facebook recently where I was saying that the Most High is so much greater than our limited conception of Him. And I just wanted to share a few more thoughts about that and just kind of elaborate on that a little bit. I was out one day and I was just kind of struggling with some thoughts, some different thoughts that I have had over time, and just kind of wrestling with the Most High about some things. And as I was in this pattern and I was just dealing with this, the one of the things that the Most High was showing me, He was saying that everything that you're thinking, everything that you're going through in your mind, really just only exists inside of your mind. Like it's in this box. Even your thoughts about me, it's in this box. You're seeing things a certain way, you're seeing circumstances a certain way, you're seeing yourself a certain way that's limited, in this box. And He said, I'm outside of that box. I'm so much greater than that. Everything that you're thinking, and everything that people think is within the framework of their own minds, right? So, you know, the Most High is so much greater than that, and we have to come to a place of, that's why He's always worthy of praise, right? He's always worthy, because no matter what changes within us, what changes in our circumstances, what changes in our perceptions, He's always the same, and He's always much greater, and He's always outside of all of that, right? And we can, for me, I believe that nature is like a reset button for me. Sometimes in especially just different religious frameworks, ways of thinking, ways of, but whether it's within religion or whether it's within our own minds and circumstances, we get so clogged up with so many things. And for me, it's just like, when I'm in this stuck place, I hit the reset button by going outside and observing nature, right? Just going outside and observing nature. And as I was pondering, I think I shared maybe a week or so ago about how just the Most High is the creator of everything that we see. Like, the Most High, man did not create. When we go outside, the things that we see were not made by the hands of man. If you live in a city, you might have to go a little further, but we don't have to go far to see. We can just look up, if nothing else, but when you see the trees, when you see the clouds, when you see the sky, when you see the birds flying around, you see the squirrels running, you see the flowers on, growing up, you see the blades of grass, and the dandelions coming up. We see these things that are not the idea of man, right? We know that something greater than us created these things. And for me, it just resets me, and puts me in a place of understanding that there's something so much greater than what I am thinking, what I'm conceiving, what I am, what I can see, what I can reach at the moment, right? So I would encourage you to just, wherever you are, when you get to those places where you're just stuck in your circumstances, go outside and allow nature to reset you and set your mind back on the greatness of the Most High. When we get into these religious boxes, man, I tell you, religion will make you lose your mind. And when I say religion, I mean the boxes that man puts on the Most High. Man likes to debate doctrines, and this doctrine of this box of thought versus this box of thought. These doctrines and this mindset, or these traditions and these different things versus each other. Like, man likes to debate those things back and forth, and can stay in that place constantly. And if you stay in that, it will drive you crazy. Just going through it, because all of this is man. This is the boxes of man, when the Most High is so much greater than all of these things that are being debated and back and forth, going back and forth with all these ideas. And the Most High is so much greater than all of that. And sometimes I get to the point I'm tired of hearing it. Honestly, I'm tired of hearing all these debates, and I just have to cut it all off unsubscribe, unfollow, cut it off, log out, and let me go back to what I know to be the truth, because you get so confused. Like we're confused enough about just our own lives and trying to figure it out. And then you go into these religious circles and it's a bunch of debates and there's a bunch of confusion, and then you don't know what to think, what to believe. At some point, what we can always trust and rely on is the Creator and what He has shown us in creation, and that will always bring us back and reset us and put us back on a firm foundation of, if nothing else, we know that Yah is good because we see how He created things. We know that, right, we see His intentions towards us, right, in what He created when we take the time to observe it. Depending on what state of mind, you may have to take a couple of days and go somewhere and just sit with yourself to be able to observe and reset, to know Yah is good because we see He had good intentions towards us. Right? And Yah is not as complicated as man has made Him to be. What He desires for us and of us is not as complicated as we make it and as people make it. So for me, nature is a reset. So I'm going to read Romans chapter 1. And Paul is talking here. And he says, in verse 16, I'll start at verse 16. For I'm not ashamed of the good news of the Messiah, for it is the power of Elohim for deliverance to everyone who believes, to the Yehudi first and also to the Greek. For in it the righteousness of Elohim is revealed from belief to belief, from faith to faith, from trust to trust, as it has been written, but the righteous shall live by belief, by faith, by trust. But the wrath of Elohim is revealed from heaven against all wickedness and unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth in unrighteousness. So it's saying here that men are suppressing the truth in unrighteousness. And it says in verse 19, because that which is known of Elohim is manifest among them, for Elohim has manifested it to them. For since the creation of the world, His invisible qualities have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, both His everlasting power and mightiness, for them to be without excuse. So he's saying that man is without excuse, because what can be known of the Most High, His invisible qualities, has been made manifest amongst man. You can see it has been revealed in creation, so that it can be clearly seen and understood the nature of Yah, so that man is without excuse. It says, because although they knew Elohim, they did not esteem Him as Elohim. They did not give Him His glory. They did not lift Him up as being the supreme, the creator, the source, the power. They didn't give thanks. It said they did not, although they knew Elohim, because He could be clearly seen, they did not esteem Him as Elohim, nor give thanks, nor praise Him, nor give Him his glory, acknowledging Him, acknowledging and submitting unto Him as being His creation and Him being the creator of all things. They did not give thanks, but became vain in their reasonings, and their undiscerning heart was darkened. So their reasoning, their mindset became vain, right? Their mindset became vain and empty and worthless and pointless. And they began to reason all these things within their own minds. So now their perception has descended from being able to perceive according to the greatness of Yah to going back and forth in these reasonings in their own minds, right? So man became vain in their reasonings, in their undiscerning heart. So now when you're detached from the nature of Yah, you are no longer able to discern the things of Yah. So it said their undiscerning heart was darkened. So the hearts of man became darkened. When you don't see and perceive who the Most High is, all you have is your own mind to circulate in, and your own perceptions and thoughts, which is vanity, disconnected from the greatness of and the power and the source of the Most High Yah. So then what happens is they became darkened. So now they can't fully perceive the Most High. They can't fully perceive what's going on. They can't fully perceive anything. There is a darkness over them, and they're in a box. Now you're in a box. Your understanding is darkened, and then you're in a box. Claiming to be wise, they became fools. So now you're claiming to have wisdom. You think that you see so much, but you become a fool because you think that you know. This is whether in the midst of religion or in the midst of our own lives. If we claim to think that we're so wise and we're seeing so, we're seeing everything and we know everything, we become like fools because we don't we're not seeing it all, right? And change the esteem of the incorruptible Elohim into the likeness of an image of corruptible man, reptiles, birds, and beasts, right? And then the Most High gave them over to the uncleanness of their hearts, right? So the Most High is saying through that, Paul was saying that the Most High made himself manifest. He made himself able to be seen, to be perceived. We can only look to the left, to the right. We can look at ourselves and know that we did not create ourselves, and look at all of the intricate qualities that we have and know that there's something that's much greater than that, right? So we can perceive these elements of the Most High, and it can be made known, right? So when we don't know, when we're not able to perceive, when we're losing sight of and losing our ability to be in touch, right? We have to be able to reset. And the Most High always through scripture told us to go to nature to reset. He always used nature as a symbol because it's something that's unchanging. As much as man taints things in this earth, they can't taint it enough to where it's not what it is. Like men are not making these things of nature. They try to manipulate it, right? Only the Most High Yah's clouds were the conception of the Most High. We may look up now and see the sky full of chemtrails that look like the clouds, but the Most High conceived the clouds. He conceived trees. Men are not making trees, right? They can only manipulate things. They may plant the trees. They may cultivate it, but the tree was the conception of the Most High, right? It was his idea. He birthed it, right? So man cannot take credit for these things, right? So the Most High, when man was dealing with being lazy and being a sluggard, the wisdom of the proverb said, "Go to the ant, you sluggard, and observe his ways." What? Go to nature, go to this thing created, see how it works and operates, and observe that, and by that you can know the qualities that you're supposed to be able to grasp from that. Right? It's a teaching tool. It's showing you something. And all of these things go back to the mindset and the qualities of the Most High, right? That Paul said in Romans that can be clearly seen, right? So there's no excuse. We're never without an excuse because he always gave us. Nobody, no matter what happens in this earth, nobody can take away the nature from us. They can try. That's why they have us in these what we call concrete jungles, these cities that are pulling us away from nature. They try to contrive all these things to keep us away from nature, but all praises to the Most High. We go outside, and if all we have is sky and a patch of grass, right, we got something to pull from. And if we only have our own selves, if you somewhere in solitary confinement and all you can do is see yourself, that's going to speak to you. It's going to give you something, of the Most High. So, sometimes we have to just be able to do that, so that we can clear our minds, clear our spirits of all the of our own thoughts, all of the thoughts of people and man, and be able to just kind of reset ourselves and go into this space. So we have to reset so that we can be back in the now, back in the moment, back in a place where we can hear, where we can see, we can understand, that we can get back into alignment with the Most High and his power, and his perspective, so that we can live in the now. One of the reasons religion can keep you so boxed in, and somebody posted in the comments on the post that I shared on Facebook, and they were saying talking about kind of not seeing as much of the miracles and the gifts that will follow those who believe. And I believe part of the reason of that is because we're not really living dynamically in the present, in the spirit of the Most High as they were what we read, right? So today we spend a lot of time being I would say religious historians. we're being religious historians, or we're being spiritual forecasters, right? So we're living in the past. So we're reading to learn, which we have to read. We have to read the scriptures to understand, to get our foundation, to get our boundary, right? To get, where, the structure of how the Most High intends for us to live, what he wanted us to know of our history coming up. But what we are all reading about in the scriptures was not a people who were spending their time focused on the past, right? They were living dynamically in the moment. They were experiencing the Most High, right? They weren't, we spend a lot of time now studying the past. Part of the reason is because we're so detached from it, because the society that we currently live in, like back then, there was a continuation of knowledge, right? There was a oral and written history that was passed down. People had a similar understanding. But today we're in a society that's so detached from it that it's hard for us to even understand, right? It takes us a long time to grasp the history and everything. So, but we get stuck there becoming religious historians focused on, constantly rehashing what the past ancestors have experienced, or we get focused on the future that is to come. We get into eschatology, looking at what's going to come into the future. What are we expecting to happen? Which we have to have a concept of to know where we're going. But once we get this foundation, like we spend 20, 30 years of our life just doing that, focusing on the past and the future, but never living dynamically. When we read in the scriptures, everything that we're reading, every person, we're reading of their dynamic, meaning present, lively experience that they're having with the Spirit of the Most High, and how the Spirit of the Most High is speaking to them, leading them, teaching them, moving them, right? They're having that real life experience in the spirit of in the moment, right? They're being transformed, and we're reading about it. And if we're not careful, we'll spend all our time focused on what Abraham did and what King David did and what Paul did and even what Yahusha did. We're supposed to take what Yahusha, what he did from his life. We're supposed to not just look at what he did and just focus there, but we're supposed to take on. We've been given the mind of Mashiach, right? We've been given that mind, and we've been given that spirit, right? So we're supposed to be having that experience. He said, you'll do greater things than I did, because you're going to take this spirit and you're going to have your own experience with the Spirit of the Most High in this oneness. You're going to have your own experience, and you're going to live out of it. But I think a lot of times we're not there. We're not taking it on. We'd rather look at the past. We'd rather point to Yahushua and how great he was. We'd rather point to our ancestors and how great that they were or weren't. And we focus on that in the lessons, which are great. But if we stay stuck there and we never get to having the experience ourselves, then to me, I feel like it causes you to just continue to go in circles, and you will go crazy because you're not living life, right? You're not actually experiencing what we're supposed to be experiencing, right? We're not becoming what we're supposed to be becoming. We're just studying it. We're talking about it. We're looking to it. We're hoping for it. We're waiting, in some instances just to die or for the kingdom to come, and for the, and we're not in it, So when I say our conception of this walk, our conception of ourselves, our conception of the Most High and how vast and great he is so limited. We come into these, in the beginning, there was a common understanding, right? You go back to Adam, then when you go to Noah, like all of mankind had an understanding of the Most High, of Elohim, of the Most High YAH. They had an understanding, and until they got to the point where they began to branch off into go into their different languages and different cultures, and then they came up with different aspects, right? And you started to get over time these different religious branches, right? And today we have all these religious branches, but each portion, right? Every fraction, every faction of people have a portion of truth that they've put a box on, right? So there's a portion of truth, but they've put a box on it and decided I'm only going to focus on this portion, and then I'm going to add my other stuff to it, right? So the reason why different religious ideologies are attractive to people is because they have some element of truth that came from the Most High. That's a reality from His creation, that they are holding on to. But the problem with that is that they're rejecting the whole, but they're only holding on to this one portion, and in that, man has to add to it to kind of, so now you got this mixture of a truth of the Most High and then what man has added to it that fits with what they want to live, right? So that's how you have all these different religious things that that have a box on it. It has an ounce of truth with a box on it with man's ideas and traditions, and focuses there. So what happens is we look today, and the truth of Yah is fragmented amongst all these different groups, right? So even as believers in the scriptures, we have the scriptures as our foundation. We have the understanding, right? We understand the process of salvation, but then we still continue to struggle with attaining the freedom that we know that we're supposed to have, right? And then we struggle, and then we see another ideology, so we go chase after that because we see them exercising in a portion of freedom that we're not experiencing. So we go after that, and then we may still be missing something, so we go somewhere else, and we leave all these things behind. But we have to get to the point where we can stand firm on our foundation, but then we cannot be limited by we can be able to perceive what is of Yah and what is not of Yah. Because later on in the book of Romans, Paul talks about not being conformed to this world and the ways of this world, but being transformed by the renewing of our mind, so that we can perceive and know what the perfect will of Yah is. We can perceive, we can know. Our hearts, what I just read, it talked about our hearts. Their hearts were undiscerning, right? And it became darkened. But as we become truly awakened, and the Most High opens our eyes and gives us His Spirit, now we can begin to recollect everything that belongs to us. We can begin to recollect everything that is truth, no matter who else has tried to put a claim on it, right? No matter what other religious faction has tried to put a claim on it for themselves, right? Because there are let me give without trying to get controversial, let me give a small example. Just say that there's some people who believe you should not use natural herbs, right? I'm not talking about marijuana. I'm talking about natural herbs that we use, that are common, chamomile, the different flowers and different herbs that we use for healing, right? There are some people who believe that we should not use that because there are people who utilize the herbs of the earth for and they focus in on that and kind of make a religion around it, right? Whereas there's no interest in the Most High Yah, but they kind of form a religion around that. That's an example. You're taking one element of truth, but you're not accepting the whole, so you're just focusing in on that. So for us to say that just because there's a group of people who do that it's wrong to use herbs when the Most High gave us that for healing would be crazy, right? It would cause us to be very limited because this group of people uses the herbs to do root work, and they do these different things. That means that herbs are wicked and we shouldn't do it, right? Or certain simple things, like just a simple example, right? People have heard that we're not supposed to stand in a circle to pray because I forget, is it the druids or some kind of witches or something? They circle up to do what they're doing, right? They circle up to do it. So because they circle up to pray or do their practices, they're circling up. Being in a circle to pray or to do whatever is wicked. So standing in a circle is wicked now because this group of people decided to do it. When reality is that standing in a circle is functional. That's why so many people do it. That's why when teams get together, they say, hey, circle up. Why? Because that's the only way we can all see each other. You know what I mean? It just functionally makes sense for a lot of reasons. But there's people who I've heard, especially in this awakening, it's wicked to stand in a circle. When churches stand in a circle to pray, like it's witchcraft, or like. So now we're so limited that we can't stand in a circle because there's a group of people who have taken that for themselves and created something around it that is opposing the Most High. Our mind is so limited that we can't see that a circle, do you not think that the tribes ever circled up? Do you not think that groups of people have not been circling up since the beginning of time? The Adam and his family didn't probably get in a circle to talk and converse or pray or whatever, so, these are just little examples of, just to touch base a little bit on just how we become so limited and how because true, things that are functional or healthy or true get taken by different segments of people, and because their ideology is wicked that they wrap around it, we see the whole thing as being wicked, and we lose a portion of what is good for us, what is functional for us, what is healthy for us, right? So it's so important to get out of these boxes of thinking that we get trapped in. Religion is dangerous, when when we take the truth in the Most High and wrap it around a religion, right? I'm a student of the scriptures, right? I identify, when I was in Christianity, at one point I identified as a Christian, and then I realized all of the things that were wrapped around and included in that man had added in, and it made me not want to be identified as that anymore because I didn't identify with all the things that man had wrapped around the truth of the Messiah, being the Son of the Most High, being the one who the Most High has sent, right? So that label didn't fit anymore because it put me in a box with a lot of things that I didn't want to be boxed in with. A lot of people identify themselves as a Hebrew Israelite, right? I identify my identity, my physical lineage as being a descendant of the 12 tribes of Israel. But now Hebrew Israelitism has become an ism, a religion where people are, have all these different ideologies, right? Where the reality is that, that's really the only thing that we have in common is those of us who identify that as being our ancestry. That is the only truth that we hold in common. Beyond that, everybody has all kinds of different doctrines. So you can't put anybody in a box, right? But there are segments of camps and different things within that group that have taken the truth of the nationality of this group of people and wrapped a religion around it. So now you got all these different traditions and different ideologies, whether or not, who can be saved and who can't, and, just all these different things that man has put a box on a truth in the Most High. Now is it become a religion, right? Man has put a box on the truth in the Most High, and it has become a religion that entraps people in a box where they can no longer see everything that's outside the box. When you're boxed in, you can't see anything outside the box, right? You're trapped, right? You're scared. You can't conceive of anything. Your mind is not able to grasp. The Most High is outside. Like when you come outside, it's limitless. It's endless. The sky keeps going on. If you're looking over the waters, it's just limitless. It just keeps going. I can look down at fields of grass. I can look down at trees. It just keeps going. When we're outside, when we're free, in the Most High, there's not limits, right? But when we get into, it's like when you go in a house, you cannot see but so far outside them walls. If there's a little window, you can see a little bit to the left, to the right, but you can't see too far because you're in the house. You're boxed in, and that's what religion tries to do. It boxes you in so that you cannot see. So don't be mistaken. I'm not saying that I'm a believer in the scriptures and the foundation, everything that it teaches from the beginning to the end. You understand? But don't get trapped in what man has wrapped around that. Okay, the thought processes and the traditions and the mindsets that man has wrapped around that are a danger to you and a danger to your spiritual life, and it'll cause you to start to get into these, to hit your head. You're gonna hit your head against the wall of these of the house that's built around you, and you're gonna want to go outside, you know, and your spirit's gonna get to a place. I'm tired. I'm hitting my head up against these walls and this house. I need to go outside. You know, you can't be locked up in a house but for so long before your soul just starts to yearning to go outside, because outside is where your spirit is free. It's where the Most High Yah is. It's where the wind is blowing. It's where you can see the sun. It's where you can have freedom. You know, so we got to get outside. We got to be able to be outside. It's stand on the firm foundation of the ground outside. You don't got to lock me in a house to keep me safe. You don't got to lock me in a house, in these walls, in this box to keep me safe. I want to go outside and play and be free in where the Most High has me, you know, where he's the freedom that he has given for me, right? We want to continue to grow. We want to continue to learn, continue to rise up, right? We're rooted and we're risen. We want to get our foundation straight, build strong, understand who the Most High Yah is, who we are in him, but we want to continue to grow and our branches to grow. We want the flowers to bloom. We want the fruit to come. We want to be able to feed the people with the fruit and allow them to be able to have the seeds from it to grow their own, right? We want to grow. We want space. We want to grow, right? So if you feel stuck, or you feel, you know, limited, know that you are being limited by man, by your own, whether it's yourself, your own thoughts. You know, it's always your own thoughts, you know, just to bring that back home. It's always your own thoughts in your minds. It may have been initiated by other people and their limitations and their limiting thoughts on you, but it's your mind that embraced it and took it on, and now you have to, you know, you've put that lock on your own self. So now you have to free yourself to be able to be and find that freedom in the Most High Yah. So I think that's all I wanted to share today. To be free. Free yourself. Free yourself. Freedom is not what the world says that freedom is. Freedom in the world is freedom without any boundaries whatsoever. The Most High, see, a tree has a boundary, right? A tree has a boundary. A tree is rooted, right? It's outside. It's free. It's able to move with the wind. You know, the branches and the leaves are able to move with the wind. It's a freedom. It's soaking in. You know, but it's rooted. You know, we want to stay rooted. See, the world will teach you that freedom is just is a leaf flying in the wind. A leaf flying in the wind is dead, right? A leaf that's flying in the wind is dead. It's not connected to anything. It's not connected to the source. It's not connected to the ecosystem that it thrives in, right? The Most High roots us in his ecosystem of the kingdom, right? He roots us and plants us in his word, right? In his truth, on his foundation, right? And it keeps us stable and steady. But in that stableness and steadiness, we're able to thrive and be free, right? So we are our freedom looks like a tree. It doesn't look like the world teaches you that freedom is a leaf just blowing wherever it wants to go. You can go this way, you can go that way. You just free. Woo. And they don't tell you that leaf is dead. That's why it's so free. That's why it goes all over. It's not, what is it feeding? And what is it feeding on? Nothing. So you take on that kind of freedom if you want to, and you're gonna be dead just like that leaf. Right? So that's not the type of freedom that we have. That's not, and don't misunderstand what I'm saying at all. And being free and taking off the religion. Religion as being defined here right now by me is the boxes that man creates around the truths of Yah, that boxes us in and keeps us limited, right? Keeps us focused on things that are not life-giving, right? So hopefully that's clear. You know, share your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you heard from what I'm saying, or if it's something that you're confused about in what I'm saying. post that so that I can clarify if need be. And reset, go outside, get free your mind, free your spirit, free your soul, reconnect with the source, realign with his perspective on you, on him, on your life, and continue to do that every day. And that's what I'm doing. And all praises to the Most High. We got to break out of these limitations that we keep dealing with, right? Hallelujah. Shalom, shalom.